Thomas Tuchel and Xabi Alonso, two of the most talked about managers in the world right now for very differing reasons. Thomas Tuchel, we now know, has lost his job and he's still in the hot seat, but he will be leaving Bayern Munich at the end of the season after less than 2 seasons in charge. Xabi Alonso, on the other hand, is at the top of his game, just barely a few years into his managerial career. He's sitting pretty at the top of the Bundesliga, 23 games unbeaten and 11 points ahead of Bayern Munich. So Xabi Alonso has been hotly linked with the Liverpool and Bayern Munich job, of course. But in this video, I would like to cover the concepts of what are the key patterns in his footballing philosophy, how Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen kept Bayern's very strong attack quiet, and actually how can Bayern overcome Xabi's tactics. So to talk about these concepts, I would like to use the video of Bayer Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich, and we all know this was 2 weeks ago. It ended in a 3-0 huge win for Bayer Leverkusen that have arguably clinched the title for them. Right now, I think they are 11 points ahead, although Bayern have a game in hand. And Xabi Alonso, super impressive. And let's talk about who scored the goals. Stanisic, Grimaldo after the break, and Frimpong. And we want to cover some statistics and look at the expected goals. And it's incredible because Bayern Munich only had a 0.56 expected goals, so under one, which means Xabi Alonso's team kept Bayern Munich to under one expected goals. This means that Bayern Munich barely had a chance, to score a goal, whereas Bayer Leverkusen had more than one expected goals, and of course they scored 3 goals. We can see also that Bayern Munich had 61% possession, a lot more in the second half, but only one shot on target throughout the whole game. So that's something surprising, and it's really very much to Xabi Alonso's and his team's credit. We can also take a look at this attack momentum from SofaScore, and we can see that it's a tale of two halves. In the first half, Bayern Leverkusen was dominant in the attack momentum, scoring 1 goal. And in the second half, of course, barely after the break, they scored a goal. And after that, set back a bit, and you can see Bayern Munich trying to force the way back into the game, especially in the last 15 minutes or so. But in the end, it ended 3-0 to Bayer Leverkusen. So let's take a look at the table as I was talking about. Bayern Leverkusen sitting pretty at the top of the table, and this was before the recent game, which they won 2-1, I think, against Mainz. And you can see now they are 22, 23 games played and 0 losses. That's incredible, completely unbeaten, and I think they can go unbeaten for the rest of the season. Goals for 57 goals, goals conceded 15 goals, and that is 10 lesser than Bayern Munich. Of course, the numbers have been updated now, but this was 1 week ago. And expected goals 45.7. And I point out these key metrics because you can see Bayern Munich, they actually score more goals and created more XG, which makes it all the more incredible that Bayern Leverkusen teams kept Bayern Munich to 0 goals and had a clean sheet. And what's incredible is Bayer Leverkusen has gone the whole season conceding only 15 or 16 goals. That's at least 10 lesser than the second place team, which speaks volumes of how Xabi Alonso's footballing approach has helped to keep things tight at the back. And let's see how they do that. So straight into the lineup, let's go. What's interesting is Florian Wirtz started the game in place of out-and-out striker like Patrick Schick or Bruno Iglesias, number 9. And it's interesting because Wirtz playing as a false 9 or a withdrawn, like a 10. And we'll see how that works out in Bayer Leverkusen's favor. And I think that was a masterstroke from Xabi Alonso. Another interesting thing is Stanisic playing in favor of Frimpong. Frimpong, of course, have been caught the eye of many as a right winger or right wing back. Has done really well this season, and of course, he's got the final goal. But I think Xabi Alonso played Stanisic in favor of Frimpong because Stanisic offers more defensive resilience and positional sense to help out the defense against Bayern's strong attack. So in possession, of course, they don't line up 5-2-2-1 in possession. We can see things like Hincapié dropping to the left, Ta and Tapsoba on the either side of the goalkeeper. Stanisic, of course, he has the freedom to go up as we saw in the first goal. But of course, he will have to stay low also when the rest of the team is attacking. He will have to offer some defensive solidity at the back. Xhaka is Xabi Alonso's extended arm on the pitch. He's the midfield general dictating the play, as we'll see later. He will be at the base of the midfield as the pivot or the holding midfielder. And he and the other 8, Ondrej, previously Palacios, but I think he's out for this game. They will line up in a 1-and-1 kind of look, and I'll show this in the video later. Of course, we have Grimaldo, has been like the hot sensation of the Bundesliga and Europe this season. He is actually the left, fullback or wingback, if you may say, but he inverts most of the time to join in the midfield to provide the numerical superiority in the middle, so they can play their little combination play and midfield passing triangles. Although of course he has gone up as well as we saw in the second goal and go down, so he's pretty much everywhere to provide the support. And we can see, really you can see, is this a 4-3-3 or is it a 4-1, 4-1 or something like that? But for me, it's more 4-3-3. But nowadays we talk about football relationism, and I think Xabi Alonso has borrowed a leaf out of Fluminense's strategy, and they play where the ball is, where the space is. It's not necessarily sticking to a rigid formation like 4-3-3, as you'll see in the video later. They are moving across the pitch to exploit the space left behind by the opponents. And let's talk about more of that in the video. But let's talk about Bayern Munich, because a lot of what happens in the game is already dictated by the lineup, as we will see later. We will see here that Bayern left out Thomas Muller, of course, Joshua Kimmich, and Joshua Kimmich, I really like him, but it seems he has fallen out of favor with Thomas Tuchel, and even Thomas Tuchel wanted to sell Joshua Kimmich and Goretzka for another, holding midfielder. So, but I think this was a big decision that affected Bayern Munich's game, as we'll see later. And of course, Mathieu de Ligt has also lost his place to Upper Meccano, Eric Dyer, and Kim Min-jae. Dyer, who just joined in the winter transfer window and already first team player in place of de Ligt. So how do Bayern line up? For me, it will be a 5-2-2-1. So what's striking definitely is this back three or back five played in favor of the usual back four that Bayern Munich play. So this is definitely a change in the system and approach. Of course, they're playing away from home at Bayer Leverkusen Stadium, and I think Tuchel is doing this to sort of nullify Bayer Leverkusen's strong attack. And does this work out in Bayern Munich favor? We saw it didn't, but I will explain more in the analysis in the video later. Of course, in possession, Mazare and Bowie can go up, and it becomes more like a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1 system with the wingbacks. But of course, when you play in such a system, the wingbacks, whether it's back three or back five, the wingbacks or fullbacks have a lot of space to cover up and down. And yeah, I'll show this again later. So let's dive right into it. Xabi Alonso, a lot has been said about his side, his philosophy, but for me, what is his philosophy? What is his tactic? Let's say, for me, I identify this view. First is attract the opponents, overload on one side, and then switch to the other side to exploit the space left behind. Next, third man runs. We'll see that a lot in the video later. We have off the ball movement, a lot of off the ball movement, pass and move. And together we have this intricate combination play, this passing triangles, combination play between Grimaldo, Xhaka, Utley, Florian Wirtz, all over the place. 1-2 touch, Ronaldo's in the middle of the pitch on the side. So these are the things that I've identified from Xabi Alonso's gameplay, and just a little statistic right here. Passes completed, Xabi Alonso's team sit right at the top, almost 2,000 more than Bayern Munich. And it's a very basic stat, but right off we can see that says a lot about how Bayer Levekusen is trying to play. That little 1-2 touch, passing triangle combination play. So let's see here. Straight off in the first half, Bayern Munich are trying to press Bayer Leverkusen's build-up play because they have identified. Tuchel has definitely done his homework and see that Leverkusen is very strong in the build-up play, and he decided the approach is to high press them. So we can see the body position Bayern Munich is trying to press. I think this is Tapsoba on the ball, very high aggressive press and forcing it all the way back to the goalkeeper. And Bayern Leverkusen just moving the ball side to side using their goalkeeper. And Xhaka at the base of the midfield, it's incredible because he's always scanning, as I've shown here, always scanning for the free man so that he knows who he can pass to, who is in space as soon as he gets the ball. And it's going to be very hard to take the ball off him, even though Bayern Munich are high pressing. Grimaldo, starting position is the left back, but you can see as he has already inverted to come inside, and we have Hincapié on the outside. Xhaka, first time ball to Hincapié. And I draw all these things because we can see right now that Xhaka is already scanning to see what is his next passing option. Of course, he sees Grimaldo, who is closed down by the Bayern Munich player, I think Pavlovic here, but certainly he has other options in front. Let's do a little, counting. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Bayern Munich players here, and of course Bowie, the number 8 here, number 8 player, and which means they only have, two at the back. Upamecano has already stepped out to try to high press Grimaldo because he's dangerous. So this means Bayern is exposed, and of course Xhaka and Grimaldo already knows this. So this is all worked out in the training ground. Grimaldo is already asking Hincapié to play the ball back to Xhaka. So Xhaka can play a first time ball to Utley. And as I said, there's only two players left behind. It's Dyer and Kim Min-jae. Dyer has stepped out to try to intercept this ball, but the ball is, is closer to Utley than Dyer, and Utley does very well to play a first time ball to Grimaldo into space, which he can attack. But this is the third man run that I have been talking about. It's very hard to defend because people are just looking at the ball instead of the off the ball run by Grimaldo. And Utley does very well. First time ball to Grimaldo. And Upamecano does well to regain the ball, but we can see Bayern's high press shape just in a few passes was completely broken by the smart play that Bayer Leverkusen had. Let's look at another play from Bayer Leverkusen. So beating Bayern's press, which I wrote down here at the bottom, that's Bayer Leverkusen or Xabi Alonso's tactic, and it reminds me a lot of the Zerbi's tactic at Brighton. And we can see here it's been very effective because Bayern Munich has played right into Xabi Alonso's hands. They like to attract the press, to break the press, and then break the high press shape. And Bayer Leverkusen are adopting the high press approach to try and stop Leverkusen's build up. So we can see Xhaka and Andre in the 1-and-1 vertical position as I drawn in the previous tactical board over here. And why this is important because usually we see the double pivot system, holding midfielder being side by side. But if you have 1-and-1, it offers the pivot, which is Xhaka, more space to roam, the more horizontal space to roam, as we will see over here. So over here is very crowded on the right side, Bayern have shifted to block the build-up. So they just shift the ball back. You can see Xhaka asking Ta to shift the ball to the space, shift the ball to the right side. They managed to shift the ball, and Xhaka has the space he was here. But because his teammate, his partner pivot is not blocking him, he has the space to roam. And alright, here they have attracted Bayern's press to the left side now. Again, many Bayern players here. What's interesting for me is Florian Wirtz has dropped down to attract the Bayern Munich's players, as we'll see later. And which means 2, 4, 6 Bayern players here. 4 Bayern players behind is still okay. Still have enough numbers at the back. For the second video, we can see Bayer Leverkusen using this bounce or wall pass, if you may see. A first time layoff, a one-touch layoff to the third man. The same player, Utley, laying off to Florian Wirtz, who is the third man. So we saw in the tactical board, Florian Wirtz is the false 9 or what? But in this case, Adli is sort of doing that role. The Florian Wirtz has dropped very deep into his own half, and we can see this is, tactical fluidity, positional fluidity in Bayer Leverkusen's game. They don't have to stick rigidly to their positions. We can see Florian Wirtz interchanging positions with Adli, and this is something they've clearly worked on the first time day of the Florian Wirtz. And he drives into space, and again, Bayern Munich's shape is completely broken. Dyer has been attracted out to press. Adli is out of position. There's a lot of space left behind. And we can see what happens. Through ball to Adli, and who really should be doing much better to score. Yes, just 17 minutes in, Bayern hit badly penetrated, even though they tried to high press Bayer Leverkusen, and two great chances already. One final example, and I think this is the goal by Grimaldo at the start of the second half, and I highlighted here, build up from the goalkeeper at the bottom, progress through Bayern's block, penetrate the box on the final third, and scoring the goal. So we can see for the three examples, it's Bayer Leverkusen, how they build up from low and break the block or the press by the opponent. So what's interesting here is the goalkeeper is starting to build up, and Bayern Munich, we can see they have already lined up almost man to man to press Bayer Leverkusen's players. So okay, good. Harry Kane, Sane, and Mazzari, they are blocking the pass to this left side, which is why Xhaka is telling his goalkeeper to play to the free man on this side, on the right side. So goalkeeper is clearly going to do that. Bayern Munich are facing that direction because they want to press. Musiala already knows this. He's going to press. Pavlovic is already telling his teammate Boy to press if once they play the ball out. And how do we do this? What's the pressing trigger? As soon as the goalkeeper plays the first ball out, we can see Musiala going to press Tapsoba. We can see Bowie going at full sprint, wanting to press Stanisic. And you can see this is Bayern's approach, very brave, very high press, but also a very high risk strategy, because once your shape is broken, it's very difficult to recover. So they play a short pass again. Florian Wirtz dropping deep to attract the opponent out. For the third example in the game, we have this bounce or ball pass by the defenders to the attacker, first time layoff, and Dyer attracted out. We saw he is the base of the back three or back five, should be the deepest lying one, but he's attracted out so high out of his half because he wants to press. Florian Wirtz, does that work out? In this case, no. Stanisic plays a first time ball. It's very simple, basic ball, but for me, an excellent ball because he plays into the space instead of to the feet of the attacker. Why is that important? Because it makes it difficult for the opponent, Upamecano, to intercept the ball. Adli does really well to put his body between the opponent and the ball so that Upamecano, he can only foul Adli or try to intercept the ball, which is, he sort of gets a touch of the ball, but not good enough. And right now we see there's this, what they call artificial transition right now, because Leverkusen has broken Bayern shape completely. Dyer and Goretzka out of position because they have gone up to high press. And now Bayern are in trouble. Kim Min-jae, yes. He's almost looking at the acres of space that Bayern Munich have exposed. There's only Pavlovic to protect the back three. Grimaldo is completely free. He gets the ball and drives up. And we can see now 2v1 against Pavlovic, Grimaldo and Taylor versus Pavlovic. Why is this so? Goretzka he has gone up to press. He's completely out of position. He cannot protect the back line, which is why Taylor is free. Dyer is not here, which Kim Min-jae he already knows. So he looks at Taylor is free. Kim knows that he has to step out if Taylor gets the ball. And Pavlovic, if you have ever been in an outnumbered 2v1 or 3v2 situation, it's difficult to defend. Grimaldo plays a simple 1-2. Kim is already asking, Pavlovic, cover me. But it's very difficult, and Taylor plays a first time ball. And Goretzka is nowhere near. Dyer is nowhere near. Of course, the space is left behind by Kim now. He has no choice but to step out. And first time through ball through the legs and go. So this is how Bayer Leverkusen scored the goal, from building up at the back all the way to Bayern's box. Fantastic. I think this is the play of the game for this result. So excellent. Again, the last example I want to show would be overloading on one side and switching to space. I think Fluminense does this a lot as well, and Brighton as well, and Bayer Levekusen now as well. You can see the three players, Syncope, Grimaldo, and Florian Wirtz on one side of the field. So let's see. Just three players have attracted. Of course, Syncope was there as well. Bayer Levekusen has attracted more than half of Bayern Munich teams to one side of the pitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All on this side of the pitch, and only two players on the other side with Frimpong in a lot of space to attack. So this is how you shift the opponent, and I feel like this is a masterclass in how to keep the ball, how to reclaim the ball even when you are outnumbered, and that's playing 1-2 touch, having off the ball movement, and just keeping it simple. Pass and move, pass and move. Let's see here. One touch, pass, one touch, pass and move, pass. So I think that's a fantastic phase of play. There's three players involved, and they managed to keep the ball against Bayern's trap of four players. By just simple one touch, and I think that's incredible. That's why I wanted to highlight it over here. And now they have done their job. They have attracted 8 or 7 players to one side, and we can see acres of space to exploit on the other side for Frimpong and to use Frimpong's speed against and to isolate him one-on-one against Mazzori, who has switched side in the second half. So Hincapié plays the ball, great ball into space, and you can see Thomas Muller trying to tell Bayern Munich to shift to the other side. And the thing about why is it so important to pass side to side to move the ball fast is to give your opponent less time to react. So we had, 7 or so players here, and now they have to shift to the other side. And if you have, played football, it's very tiring to do this. Even though they are very fit players, it's already second half, the whole game you're chasing, it's very difficult. And now there's a lot of space, not acres, but a lot of space for Leverkusen to exploit. I highlight Kimmich, Muller, and Tell because they are actually the midfield in the second half. Of course, we know Muller is a very attacking player together with Tell, and they are not defensive profiles. And even Kimmich is not the strongest defensive player, but they have to cover the space against the Leverkusen team. So let's see. We have the tactical board in a while. You see, they are all trying to, get the ball against Leverkusen, but they have no chance. And let me explain why. Here you can see the tactical board, and we have Kimmich. This is the only defensive profile as I highlighted. In the second half, they have taken up Upamecano, the defender, to put on Muller. So they have less defenders, but they have more attackers. And I will mention this later because they are chasing the game 2-0 down. They want to attack. Yes, fair enough. And this is a very attacking formation, 4-1-3-2. You have 5 attackers, attacking profiles, and only one holding a defensive midfielder. And the problem with when you play with one defensive midfielder, there's a lot of space for him to cover horizontally. You can see on the side of Kimmich. And we see this exactly in the pitch right here. How do you expect Kimmich to defend so much space across the pitch, especially against players like Grimaldo and frontwards? And he needs help from his teammates, but his midfield teammates are Musiala, Thomas Muller, Leroy Sané, and you can see clearly they are not involved in the defensive work of the team right now. And that's why it's very difficult. Kimmich is running all over the place by Leverkusen. By now, again, we can see here, Kimmich and four defenders against 6 by Leverkusen player. And I don't want to be in Kimmich's position right here. It's completely exposed. We have 3 of Munich's players, very attacking profiles. They are far away from the action. And Munich is completely defensive shape is very badly penetrated. And by now, Florian is playing and toying with Bayern Munich's defense. And Leverkusen should really be scoring the third goal right here. They come close.